Hey guys, it's Muscular Beaver here, and today we are going to be playing just a casual game of War of Dots. In today's episode, we are going to be not doing the 1 versus 1s anymore, but we are going to be doing the 3-player games today. So we've got red being us in the back left corner. Everyone starts off with an equal amount of troops, which is great. I'm just sending my army back into the city so we can grab some money. Blue sends some of his forces back, which is fine. I push my forces up so that way we can see in the fog of war. I also bring my tank towards the middle as Blue's got 2 tanks there. And I want to support my infantry there with an additional tank, and I swap over my infantry for the other. Purple starts making some plays which gets me a little bit curious, and I also notice that purple isn't grabbing any money, which means purple doesn't have anyone in the city, virtually making his city empty. Blue sends me a message saying he wants to be in an alliance. I just say yes. Obviously, it's not gonna last. I send my little dot into the water as I want to get him into a boat and ship that boat all the way across to grab that city. And purple immediately starts to retreat. I'm not exactly sure why, but purple leaves his city practically open, and I just go ahead and capture it. That was probably one of the easiest cities that I've captured. And if we look at the casualties, purple is losing pretty badly, and he's also started his attack on blue's front as well. I'm not exactly sure why, but we take the win. A city is always great to have. And then purple starts his full offensive. I don't know why he's doing that. And you can just see his casualties explode up to all the way right around 100,000 casualties. I do a quick little encirclement here, and I practically encircle half of his army, getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 divisions there, which is well over 50,000 casualties just in that pocket there. At this stage, I know purple doesn't have any dots left, so I send them right away to capture the cities before blue takes any before me. I grab one, I go for the second city, grab that, and I move straight away to the capital. And for some reason, purple sends his dot away. I'm not sure why, but a win's a win at the end of the day. Blue is finishing off purple, and he's gonna go ahead and capture that city for himself. Now, out of purple, we've gotten 1, 2, 3, 4 cities, including a capital, and blue was only able to grab 1 city. Now, looking at the casualties, blue's taken more casualties than me. I've got way more troops than him. Let's just go for a full offensive on blue. What can he do? There's nothing he can do to stop me. I attack from his capital side, and I attack towards the bottom side, on the east side. Blue seems very weak at this stage, and it doesn't take blue long to just throw in the towel just like that. Very easy game. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So in this next game here, we are blue this time in the back left corner. Unfortunately, we have the lowest troop count out of the rest of the players on the map. So I retreat my forces back and try to get one of the guys onto the cities as soon as possible so I can get as much money. I send a few guys back. I keep the tanks in the plains tile. I'm not sure what to do here, but I know that I should be far away from the battlefield at this stage. I move some forces back as I don't need him there. I put my tank on the bridge just in case purple wants to come across with his tank. And yeah, I just let the game play out. I actually fast forward here because not much happens here. We just, both sides just build up their army. Red and purple go for a little bit of an attack on their side, but we can't really see it in the fog of war. But it doesn't take them long to stop that attack. They keep harassing each other a little bit, but they don't do any more than that. I quickly get some tanks open, as tanks will be very crucial for this stage. And if you see what I'm doing here, I'm moving all my tanks to the very left side as I want to start an attack on red side to try and capture that city, because that city seems to be the closest to me and the easiest to me. So I move my 4 tanks there. Purple pushes himself up towards that bridge, which is going to be a problem later on, but I just want to worry about that later on. I don't want to think about that right now. And very courageously, purple goes ahead and encircles red in the top corner. Not sure how that happens, but that puts purple in the lead. Sorry, that puts not purple in the lead, sorry, but that puts me on tie with purple in terms of troop count, and sending red absolutely to the oblivion, which is a perfect time for me to attack. while purple's attacking red city, I go ahead and make my own offensive. 2 against 1 on only four tanks against only 2 infantry. What could go wrong? Red has got a tank on one of his city, which is going to be a little bit difficult to capture, but in the end I'm sure we'll definitely be able to capture that. The infantry fall into pieces, it really doesn't take long, and then I started thinking maybe I can get around the tanks, which does seem to work momentarily. I get around the tanks and get around the city, and I start going for a full offensive attack on the city. And purple seems to be going really strong, encircling another bunch of red's troops there in the north. I almost lose this division there, but I just ignore it for a second. I want to cycle him out, but he's very trapped in the corner. At this stage, I'm getting a bit worried as purple's bringing more divisions to the bottom side, and as you can see, purple starts his attack almost immediately. I get a bit worried here, so I know red's practically left the game at this stage as he hasn't reacted to any of the attacks, and so I grab some dots off from the red's front, and I go over there to support the purple front, and unfortunately I wasn't paying attention here and I got encircled. I ended up freeing those guys out, but it's very big casualties for us. We can't afford to take these casualties, and in the end I think they still get encircled there. I'm sorry guys, not much that I can do there. I go ahead and try to go around red's army to try and capture that city. It is going to be very vital for me in terms of playing against purple. Unfortunately red has someone there, which is fine. We got 2 tanks there, they'll take it out. I go ahead and pay purple a visit at the top where the capital is, and purple's got some divisions up there, so I ignore it for the second and go ahead and aim to capturing the city and encircling red's army. Purple is going for a full offensive down south, so I send as many dots as I can to try and support that offensive. I ended up capturing red city, which is amazing for me. I shouldn't have attacked red's dots there as they were going to die anyways, as they don't have a city except for that capital. I should have gone right for that capital there, or even to at least defend the battle that's happening in the south. I sent some divisions to try and encircle purple's army, but there is just way too many divisions in purple's army, so I go ahead and try and go on the fence on purple's north to try and capture the capital, but it doesn't go too great as I am not very good at fighting on 2 different fronts, and I practically almost get encircled there. I end up losing a tank there, unfortunately. So I start making my own little encirclement, and I end up encircling practically all of purple's south army. Purple loses a few divisions there, a few dots there, you see them disappear, but purple is able to see what's going on there, and he quickly grabs some dots to support that. I go for the encirclement again, but yet again, me not paying attention in both the north and the south, I end up losing 2 tanks there, unfortunately. I try to continue the encirclement. If I can get this encirclement, that will be groundbreaking for me, but unfortunately I wasn't able to complete it, and purple was able to successfully get his divisions out of there. I try to grab that city from purple as it looks as if it's a fresh tank there, but as an infantry that's encircled, he loses health very quickly, so that didn't work out for me. The casualties start piling up for both me and purple. However, I am still leading in amount of troops, so I should be looking good here. Unfortunately, like I said, I am not too good at fighting on 2 fronts, and purple ends up capturing one of the cities that I just captured from red. I try to send some reinforcements to help in the north, as I feel as if the south is under control, but there's still a lot more work to be done. I try to send whoever I can, but I'm just not playing this as smart. I'm not moving as efficient, I'm not moving quickly, I'm really just taking my time here, not knowing what I'm doing. Now, purple goes ahead and encircles me again, which practically almost cost me the game here. So I try to go ahead and encircle purple again, trying to go for a counter offensive here, but there's just way too many of purple's dots for me to do that, and I unfortunately lose 3 dots there. I go for an offensive on the south as well, but yet again I end up encircling them, and red seems to grab dots from out of nowhere. I try to escape knowing that this was an absolute failure. I end up escaping, taking 1 dot with me, so that was a success there. However, red sends one of his tanks there and gets the rest of the pocket. In the north, I'm not doing too great there as well. Purple is just a better player in general. He knows where to attack, he knows when to attack, and he knows how to attack. So I'm getting, even though I have more troops than him, I feel as if I'm getting overwhelmed at all fronts, which is absolutely insane from Purple's end. So props to him. I go ahead and encircle Purple's army in the middle, but silly me, there's a city right there. He just goes ahead and captures it. I was being so stupid. He focusing too much effort on the south. And even after all these encirclements that I've suffered, I still have more troops than Purple somehow. Purple realizes I'm not a good player at all, so he just takes that to his advantage and just tries and just goes for the attack again and again. However, I do get a great encirclement on Purple's army towards the south, which really gives me some breathing space there to go ahead and cycle some divisions, build some more, and yeah, it gets me some room to breathe, thankfully. I should have kept the offense going in the south, but I really wanted to recover my divisions there. I probably should have taken the gamble. Purple tries to capture the city on the far west side, but I quickly get to me, but he gets to me before I can do that, so that really is a big problem for me. I need to get that back ASAP. There's two tanks here, they should be able to take him out, and they rightfully do so. I connect the city back, and I notice that I'm overextending a little bit into the east, so Purple's gonna go ahead and encircle me once again. Unfortunately, if only I just pay a bit more attention to what I'm doing, I could have had this game right in the bag. Now, Purple seems to be retreating in the north, as he's pretty low on troop count, and I noticed that most of his troops are in the south. Purple has a ton of money, so he's got to start building a lot more divisions to really start a massive push on me. And you can hear that noise that you guys hear is actually when a division is being built, and that's Purple building those very divisions that will go ahead and bite me in the ass later. I try to send some support in the south, as I can see the south completely falling apart on my end due to my lack of skill. I sent some 2 tanks across the bridge to try and cut around the infantry and the tanks, but Purple is yet again has just reinforcements at the back to cover that such flank. So in the end, it's a failure once again. We end up getting 1 tank, but it doesn't last very long, and I end up losing those very same 2 tanks that I sent across as support, which is just only breaking my heart. At this stage, Purple passes me in troop count, which is absolutely horrendous on my part. Purple's got more cities than me, he's got a bigger army than me, he's making more money than me. It's not looking great for me, unfortunately. So at this stage, I try to play it smart. I try to go for a quick little offensive on the city before Purple sends the rest of his newly built army. However, Purple's got some fierce resistance there, so there's not much that I can do. And Purple goes ahead on the new offense on the south city, and I can't lose that city or else it's truly over. I send some tanks to reinforce it, as the tank is right about to die. The tank dies here, and I'm able to reinforce it, thankfully. So I ignore it. I look over into the north again, and I notice I'm gaining casualties fairly quickly, and I keep getting my tanks encircled. So I go around the Purple's army a little bit, but it doesn't really work out. And then at this stage, I start to understand that it's not the tanks' fault, it's my fault. I'm not being smart about this, and tanks are slower than infantry. That's why the infantry are moving. That's why the tanks are getting encircled, because there's no infantry to cover the flanks. If you just pay close attention, you could just see that purple dot in the top left corner just chasing me wherever I go, and he's very easily encircling me there. And look, he's just moving them forward. He pins me there, moves on forward, and I can get encircled there. But thankfully, I'm able to get him out. I go for a new offensive onto the city at the top, but it doesn't seem to work out as well. It gets really close, but my tanks are fairly weak, and there is just too much resistance on Purple's end, so props to him. The south is also getting pretty weak, and looking at the troop count, I know that there's more of Troops' army just on the way, and I only need to buy myself some time. I need to end this game as soon as I can, but it's just not gonna happen. With the skill of purple and with the army that he's currently building and the money that he has, it's only a matter of time before I gotta throw in the towel myself. Which is pretty ironic. From the last video, I went from having a win streak of 7 games to only having a win streak of 1 game today, and that's just props to purple. He's just a better player at the end of the day. I try to go for a cheeky encirclement on purple's side there to try and change the tide in the war, but purple sees that almost instantly and he sends his infantry back, and instead he uses his other infantry to cross the bridge, which is not to my liking. If only I trained more infantry divisions, I should have been able to cut around purple's army a lot quicker, which could have made some game deciding plays. Like, you could just see that pocket there. That's such an obvious pocket. If I just had 1 more infantry or 2 more infantry to just go in there, that pocket would have been gone. But unfortunately, you live and learn. Now, purple has just hit 200,000 troops. I know deep down that there's a big army hiding behind that wave that's just waiting to crush me down. Purple has been waiting for this moment. He's waiting to just go ahead and swoop by and crush me down. And there it is. Purple saves his tank there, but I end up capturing it back, deleting one of his infantry. Purple tries to do it again, and he ends up not making it in time. And that's probably one of the last successful moments I had in the south. As you can see, everything is red and yellow. Purple is just so eager to finally capture that city. I try to send some reinforcements in there to really hold that city, but it's just getting very overwhelming in there. And then I think it's right here where purple ends up finally catching it after so long. He loses a lot of divisions there, but all in all, I think it was worth it. He was able to get the city and fully take control of the south. I try to go for a cheeky encirclement in the north, but yet again, I'm just not fast enough. And you can see purple's got infantry there. And look, he just goes ahead and encircles me back. So there's no point. Absolutely no point. If I had more infantry, if I only had more infantry, that's the mistake that I've learned from this match. Tanks isn't everything. Being agile, being mobile, being able to move, get to places where you need to be is what matters the most. Tanks is good support, but there needs to be a balance. Somehow I'm able to recapture the city in the south while also fighting in the north, which is an absolute win on my half, and bringing purple's troops down below 200,000, which is absolutely insane. Purple also almost captures my city, but my capital, but I'm able to very quickly stop that. I lose the city in the east, and my lines are just beginning to crumble. Purple sends another 3 tanks towards the south, and I'm just not prepared for it. Everything is red, everything is finished, and my capital is virtually opened, waiting for anyone to take it. At this stage, I know it's over. Purple hits me with a good game, my capital's gone. I go, that's it, let's go ahead and resign. Thank you guys for watching. I'm sorry I didn't win this game, but I will learn from my mistakes, and I hope you guys learn from this too. Today what I learned is tanks isn't everything. Infantry can really make the difference in the game with the encirclements. Even though purple had a much lower troop count than me, he was able to use his infantry to just get around my tanks and just kill them. Just as simple as that. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you liked the video. If you made it this far, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.